The Constitution of North Carolina says that secret societies are contrary, in essence, what it says, to a democratic government. Over and over again, we have seen not the extremist leadership who call themselves Republican, but we have a hard time calling them Republicans because it was Republicans in the form of Lincoln Republicans, for instance, who helped found HBCUs and the call for living wages and the call for health care, Teddy Roosevelt. So this group of extremists continues to engage in secret attacks on various parts of our community. Let me be clear. This bill is classic underdevelopment. Once again, the extremists led by Berger and Moore have used a false label to cover up the truth. This bill is not about making college more affordable. That's a false label. It is instead an attack on HBCUs and an attack on Pembroke and even Western Carolina. Pembroke being founded for our native Indian community, and Western Carolina, when it was in the bill, I don't know what they're doing because they keep taking it back and pulling it back. But originally Western Carolina was in it, and West Carolina was for the poorest of the poor in Western North Carolina. It is a bill that will drain millions of dollars from them with no replacement revenue. Now, the reason we say this bill, the name of it is deceptive, is because just like the extremist voucher and voter suppression schemes, this bill has a trick name trying to trick the population of North Carolina. It's not about affordability. You cannot claim this bill is about affordability when it actually underdevelops and drains money from historically black colleges and universities and minority universities, which have already been underfunded for years. Now think about who's asking us, Representative Hall, Representative Pierce, and others, to believe that this is about affordable college. It's the same people who told us a voter suppression bill was about voter integrity. This is the same people that say they believe in funding public education when they actually underfund public education and have driven this state lower than Mississippi in per pupil expenditures. This is the same group that said they were going to cut taxes on the working people when they actually cut them for the wealthy and raise taxes on working poor people in North Carolina through fees and through the denial of earned income tax credit. This is the same crowd that says they're going to provide health care by cutting Medicaid expansion. This is the same crowd that says that a voucher system that takes money from public education is actually an opportunity scholarship, when they know, in fact, that it's not. This bill attacks people of color directly. The goal is clear. Disperse these centers of cultural, intellectual, and political power and disrupt the mission of HBCUs by bankrupting them. We should know what this means. Historically, black colleges and universities are institutions that were developed prior to 1964 with the principal mission of educating black Americans. But deeper than that, it was 1862 when the Morrill Act provided for land-grant colleges in each state. Some of those were open to blacks before the Civil War, but in the 17 southern states, they had segregated systems that excluded black students from their land-grant colleges. It took a second Morrill Act of 1890, after the Civil War, during Reconstruction, known as the Agricultural College Act of 1890, that required states to establish a separate land-grant college for blacks if blacks were being excluded from the existing land-grant colleges. And many of our HBCUs were founded under this Second Morale Act, according to research. It then was all the way in 1980 when President Jimmy Carter set up a special commission about HBCUs and called for increased funding because of historic denial. So it's just been in the last 36 years that we've even talked about trying to deal with the issue of historic denial, because these colleges were not even included in the first land grant set aside that began in 1862. Other fact you should know is that even though historically black colleges were founded to educate black students, they have historically enrolled all students. They've never been legally segregated, nor have they ever been intentionally segregated. In fact, as of 2013, non-black students made up 20% of historically black college and universities enrollment. Historically black colleges and universities disproportionately enroll low-income, first-generation college students, precisely the students that the country needs the most to obtain college degrees. 75% of students at HBCUs receive Pell Grants, and 13% rely on PLUS loans to meet their college expenses. HBCUs have 1/8 of the average size of endowments than historically white colleges and universities. So if you drain their money, you bankrupt them. And what do you do when you bankrupt them? Do you turn them into training centers? Do you take away that legacy? HBCUs have historically provided affordable education to millions of students of color. And these are some numbers you should know. HBCUs are responsible for 22% of the current bachelor's degrees granted to African Americans. They're responsible for 40% of the members of Congress that are black. 12.5% of the black CEOs in this country came from HBCUs. 40% of the engineers. 50% of professors and 50% of lawyers. 80% of judges, black judges, come from historically black colleges and universities. It is shameful and downright extreme and despicable the way in which this legislature has spent all of its time since they have been in office attacking the poor, attacking the sick, attacking immigrants, attacking women, attacking the LGBT community, attacking voting rights, attacking Muslims, and attacking public education and teachers and workers, and now attacking one of North Carolina's proudest traditions, and that is our HBCU universities, our colleges like Western Carolina that provided for the poorest in the mountains, and our Pembroke University, which was designed particularly originally for Native Americans. Somebody said last week, we have entered into dark times. It wasn't me. It was David Gergen, former advisor to Ronald Reagan. He said something, I had said it at Guilford College in my commencement, and people said I shouldn't have said it. But then at Elon College, David Gergen went away from his notes and said the same thing. We are not dealing with conservatives, Republicans. We are dealing with extremists who are wrongfully using their power to try to dismantle everything for the uplift of all people, and only catering to the wealthiest and the power greedy among us. We stand against this bill. We stand against this extremism. And as Tyler will tell you, along the NAACP, both our adult and youth and college division, we will organize this summer to let people know what's going on and to get people